Brian Joseph Burton, better known by his stage name Danger Mouse, is an American musician, songwriter, and record producer. He's a Grammy Award-winning record producer at that, who was born on July 29, 1977 in White Plains, New York. At the beginning of his career, he used to record as Pelican City before creating a great online fan base with the bootleg release, The Great Album. This album was a remix of the Beatles' White Album and Jay-Z's Black Album, which were both huge statements in the music world. Later in his career, he teamed up with the amazing singer and songwriter CeeLo Green to form the Grammy-winning duo Gnarls Barkley, which had a major hit single called Crazy that I'm sure we have all heard before. Danger Mouse has become one of rock's biggest producers of this time, working with A-list bands like Black Keys and U2. In 2010, Danger Mouse produced 12 songs on U2's album, Songs of Innocence, which developed very successfully and quick. He's also produced albums for Adele, A$AP Rocky, Beck, Broken Bells, Gorillaz, and many more over the years. In 2015, Danger Mouse announced his own Columbia Records imprint, 30th Century Records, which featured artists personally signed by the songwriter and producer himself. Brian Burton choosing to start his own label with bands and artists that weren't getting the right recognition he thought they should have, in my eyes shows he has great character and it really explains his love and passion for music.
Just like a bruised black and blue winter clouds hanging around.
In 2016, Danger Mouse produced The Getaway by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, with Radiohead producer Miguel Godrich on mixing duties. When Anthony Kiedis, the lead singer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, spoke to the Rolling Stones in October of 2016, he said Danger Mouse is very good about coming up with super modern ideas, but he'll also touch on the acoustic guitar in the control room and strip down to its acoustic essentials. One thing everyone should know about Danger Mouse is that he doesn't stop working, and he has a great mindset to create things that have never been heard before, except for the newest project that he just released, which has a whole bunch of old hits that are just re-recorded with new artists. The album's name is Resistance Radio, The Man in the High Castle. It's a haunting collection covering primarily ballads recorded in 1962 or before that, and an early frontrunner for one of the year's best albums commented by Rolling Stone.
Recently started a record label. It's called 30th Century Records. What made you want to start a label right now when the music industry is really in flux? What is behind that your choice to start that?
Well, it wasn't really an industry idea for me. It was just, I always, when I produced and made records, I made music with people who were more experienced, older, better, things like people I could learn from. I always usually did that. I rarely ever worked with anybody my own age or younger. And then after years, that started to be hard to do because I got older myself.
You're not that old, man.
No, I'm not saying I'm that old, but it just was a way for me to start listening to and hearing younger bands and music in that way. And I thought, well, if nobody's putting out their records, I could put out their records in the meantime and eventually work with some of them if it got to that point.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about sort of what you get from working with these younger artists, but it also is a little bit of a pay it forward thing for you to support them and make sure that they get their stuff heard, right?
Sure. I mean, eventually I would like it to be, I would like it to be a big place for people to come put records out. A lot of times when you put out an album, you're asked to do a lot of things you don't want to do. And I'm usually really good at saying no, even though I still wind up doing things I don't want to do sometimes.
Is this one of the things you don't want to do, having to come in?
This is early on. This is only maybe the fourth time I've done this, so it was no problem. But anyway, so I definitely understand what it's like to. There's kind of a myth, I think, that you have to have big hit songs to to maintain or to have a career. But there's just things. I think there's ways of doing things as long as you have the right expectations and you work really hard. You can do the music you want to do. It's just more difficult. And so I just wanted to show some bands and some people who are making certain types of music that are not going to ever be on charts or be hugely popular, that it's still worth doing and that you can still get by doing it.